Welcome back everyone to our new Let's Play series using the free mode here in Real Farm. So in our first video in the series, we had a lot going on. So just to recap, we started out the free mode owning the farm as well as 3 fields in the immediate area of the farm. The first thing we did was go into the vehicles tab and sell off everything that we owned. And then over the course of the video, you can see that we rented out everything else that we needed. We've got 2 trucks, which are stationed right down here, one at the farm supply shop and one at the livestock shop. And that is so that we can easily switch over to them and buy all the feed we need, as well as seeds and fertilizer, anything else we might need from there. And then we have another vehicle stationed at the livestock shop so that whenever we need to purchase more animals, it'll be very quick for us to get over there rather than having to drive on the map. Even though driving on the map definitely does not take very long, this is just one of those things that will save us just a little bit of time. So if we head back over to our vehicles tab, you can see right now we have 4 tractors. Now, granted, we don't necessarily need 4 tractors, but part of the fun, as I mentioned in our previous video, for me, part of the fun is buying lots of the tractors and implements. That's part of the issue for me that makes it fun. So as well as that, so that explains how we got the 2 trucks and our 4 tractors. Now we've got some implements. We have 1 tractor that is hooked up permanently to a tipper, or at least permanently for us. We've got a plow, which is now hard at work with a worker on field 1. Looks like he's got a little over 2 hours left to go in game time. Okay, then we've got a cultivator, which is right in front of us as soon as we get out of the menu. And we've got the slurry tank, which is parked right over there, also with its own tractor. So the plan is we are going to actually speed up time so that we can have some of these things happening a little bit quicker. Let's start out by having the time scale. Let's just go to normal. Let's apply that and resume that. Okay, so this will have time. You can see the time at the top right-hand part of the screen. It's going to be on 24-hour mode. So we're just past midday, and the time is indeed going by a little bit quicker than it was before. So now we're down to less than 2 hours in game time, which will only take a couple of minutes for us. So now what does that mean? Well, it means that this field will be ready to cultivate here momentarily. And we're going to do the same thing cultivating. We're placing our emphasis on the animals in this gameplay series. All of the attention we're giving to the fields, we're getting to do all of that in our Let's Play of the career mode. So I'm not terribly worried about doing that here. All right, let's check on our worker. Yeah, so still doing great there. All right, let's go ahead and press the comma button. We don't need the slurry. There we go. We actually need this guy. All right, so where is he? Let's just back straight up. Now, I can't. It's going to be hard for me to do this. There we go. These things do not like to back up. I'm going to try to get this sucker in there. And I've already missed. All right, forget that. I was going to try to keep from having to turn around like this, but I don't know anywhere around it because look at this thing turn. It is just not turning hardly at all. All right, you can see there's still a little bit left in the back. That's because we put 10,000 in. Ooh, stop. We put 10,000 in. Only 7,000 at a time will fit in with the cow barn. So now we're going to try to get the rest of it. And there we go. Load it up. 10,000 more. So now we have 13,000. All right, and for right now, the cows, we're still at 90% food. So we could go in there and top off the last 10%, but I'm not going to worry about it. Cleanliness is still looking good. Health is now up to 41%. That should go up about 1% every few hours in the game time. And we'll talk about that more as time goes on, because my plan is we should be getting milk each day that we can sell each day, and that should happen automatically. And then the health will creep its way up toward 100%. Once it gets to 100%, we can sell off these cows and then repurchase cows and then start the process all over again. So we'll end up with two sources of income. We'll have a daily source of income from milk, and then about once a week, maybe a little bit less than that, in game time, we'll have the health get up to 100%, and we'll have the sale of the cows themselves. All right, if we take a look at the sell menu, now remember how much we purchased these for. Okay, now you see how much we could get for them at this particular level of health. Every little bit of increased health they get, they're worth a little bit more money. So of course we could sell them at anywhere along the way, but for our purposes, we're going to keep them to 100% and maximize our profits. All right, let's go ahead and step out of there. Now, what are we going to need next? Well, we're about to start cultivating over here. Okay, just under an hour left for our workers, so we're going to need to sow after we get done cultivating. So that means we need to go back to our shop. And yes, once again, we're going to get another tractor. We're going to make this another green one and hit rent. Oh, we've reached the maximum amount of equipment we can rent. Okay, so they caught me there. That's one of those things you have to learn the hard way. So let's take a look at the vehicles that we have, and you can see we've got a lot that we've rented. So going forward, we're going to have to start purchasing things, which is perfectly fine with me. I was just trying to save a little money to get us started up front. So with that in mind, we'll say no problem at all. We'll go back to this. We'll do a green one, and we will purchase this one. Again, probably not the most fiscally responsible thing to do, but we're all about having fun. So now we're going to come into the sowers. We've got a plow, we've got a cultivator. Now we're going to get the sowers. Now the one I want is right here, the Fern 6000. The reason I want it is because it also contains a cultivator. Whereas these others will sow the seeds perfectly fine. This one will also cultivate. That will give us now two cultivators that we can use, and then later on we'll add a couple of, or at least one more plow and so on, so that we don't have to worry about sharing equipment, and we'll basically have equipment for each field that we have. But again, those are long-term plans. For now, this is going to cost us $53,000. You can see that is going to take up a lot of our money that's remaining. But hey, that's what we've got the money for. Let's go ahead and click on buy. Press the comma button, which takes us to our vehicle store. And now we're going to pick up our seeder / cultivator. Get that hooked up. And we're back heading our way to the field. Now you might wonder, okay, why did you buy a cultivator when you planned on buying this seeder, which is also a cultivator? And I mentioned it briefly, and the goal here is I'm not trying to make the absolute most efficient use of our equipment. I want to buy lots of equipment. All right, come on, car, get out of the way. There we go. I want to get tons of equipment. I want to have in our game world equipment basically everywhere. I want to have equipment that we can park outside of all the different fields and basically have, oh, there's our message in the top left-hand corner. The worker is done on field number 1. Excellent. That means we are ready to cultivate. But one of the issues we have right now at the beginning, and the reason why I purchased a cultivator at this point, is because when we hired this worker, if I hired him with this particular seeder / cultivator, at the end of it, it would not be shown that he did any cultivating whatsoever. So we would miss out on that, and we're simply not interested in that. We don't want that. Okay, let's hop out of this tractor. We're now going to run over to this tractor to make sure that whenever the worker is done here, that it shows it's been cultivated. You can see the graphics for the field have changed. Now it's been plowed, even though the graphics are not oriented the proper way. All right, so for $189, we can hire the worker to do this, and we're going to do just that. All right, let's quickly check in on our livestock. We're going to move into the pigs and sheep in a little bit, but I want to start off by showing you guys how the money is made and how all that works at the beginning with the cows, and then we'll work our way into the sheep and pigs later on. All right, so the slurry tank is starting to fill up a little bit. Food is definitely going down. They're at 83%. Cleanliness is at 94%, so we're good. Still 41% health. Now, in order to help out some with that, we're going to actually go ahead and increase time even more. Okay, so time scale is on fast. You notice down here, there has been a scale for how quickly your crops are ready to be taken care of, but that is gone for some reason. There must have been a bug in that so that we can no longer tell how quickly the crops are going to grow, but maybe that'll come back at a later time. For now, we just have to deal with a time scale, which we're going to turn up to fast and let time go as quickly as possible. Now we can see just under 3 hours for this to be completed. And as we move around, you can see it's already 6 minutes of game time has passed. So this shouldn't take a whole long time at all. All right, let's move back into, let's go ahead and withdraw the slurry. You can see there's a little over 1,087 there. We'll go ahead and get that out so we can start all over. But our tank can hold much more than that. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner, just above the speedometer, that 1,087 of slurry takes up very little room in our actual slurry tank. All right, let's come to the supply shop. And again, I'm swapping through our available vehicles, either tractors, harvesters, or trucks, by pressing the comma key on the keyboard. We're going to press E. I'm going to come in and purchase more of the feed, so it'll go straight to our silo. And then let's see, we don't need any more seeds. Let's see, anything else? I think we're good. We should be full on seeds and insecticide. For now, in fertilizer, we're going to be using slurry, and we'll see how much we're able to cover with the slurry from the cows. Okay, so here's our tractor that was used to plow. And now we're going to use it to plow again. But this time it's going to be a little bit different, because as we looked at the map in our first video, right now we've been working with field 1. I'm actually going to go over to fields 4 and 5 and start them going as well. And the idea is that we'll just sort of keep all of the tractors and implements busy as much as we can on the fields. But again, our major focus is going to be on the animals. And for now, that means the cows. All right, I guess we'll go ahead and start on field 5 over here since it's the closest. And you can see as we get closer that this field is going to be in the same shape as field 1. It needs to be plowed, cultivated, and so on. So let's go ahead and hire the worker for that. And we'll head back over. Let's take a glimpse at our worker screen. And now you can see we have 2 workers going. 1 plowing, 1 cultivating, and 3 hours of game time left for the plow. Of course, they just got started. But only 18 minutes of game time left for the cultivator. And that means that here very shortly, there we go. That worker is going to be done. So now that field has been cultivated. Now we're going to be ready to start seeding. But before we can do that, we need to go put some seeds in our tractor. Okay, here we go. Oh, didn't make that corner quick enough. Turn, turn, turn. There we go. So we'll back in here just enough, or pull it in here just enough to where it won't be too much trouble backing out. Okay, so enough room in here for 4,000 seeds. And now we're going to go to control. And this is where we can, of course, unfold the tool and begin seeding, but we can choose which crop we want. Now, from everything I have seen, canola is far and away the most profitable crop. Hopefully that changes, and it actually periodically will become various different crops that take over that rain. But for now, we're going to plant canola. And the way I figured that out is I did some work off camera, and I jotted all these numbers down over a period of time to get minimums and maximums for each of these crops. Okay, this is grass on the end. Of course, you got corn, canola, and then let's see, that would be rye and wheat, and I forget what that one is off the top of my head. But I wrote down each one of these, the minimums and maximums, and then you compare that with the yield, and you can tell how profitable it's going to be. In our case, these high prices are more than enough to overcome the difference in yield. The yield is still pretty good for canola. Let's go ahead and back out. All right, turn, tractor, turn. There we go. We're going to take the long way back around. So right now we've got a worker who is hard at work over on field 5, just to our left over here, and he is plowing, getting that field ready to be cultivated, and then ultimately the seed sown. All right, here we go. Let's head over to the field. Once we're on the field, let's glance one more time and just make sure we're planting canola. We are. Also, you can see that in the bottom left-hand corner, it shows the seed and how many seeds are remaining in the sower. We're going to press R, and now our worker is hard at work sowing the field. Okay, you can see with the time on fast, these prices are changing quite a bit. If we look at our workers, so our worker is done. There we go. How about that for timing? So our worker from field 5 is done. What does that mean? Well, it means that now we've got a couple of tractors that are ready to go. One with a plow and one with a cultivator. And right now I'm going to grab the one with the cultivator. And we're going to grab it and we're going to head right over to field 5. So our farm is already in high gear. We are working on seeding our very first field, field 1. Now we're headed over to begin cultivating field number 5. There we go. We'll drive him over, hit R, and now that worker is ready to go. We'll head back over to the field. Now our next tractor is ready to be used with the plow. And we've got one more field that's ready to be worked, and that is field 4. If you've joined me on our career mode series, then you know that field 4 is the smallest field that we have access to currently, and it's just over a half hectare, and that's where we got started in our career mode. All right, so we're going to head over to this field. I sure wish all this rain that is happening in the game world would actually serve to water our fields, but unfortunately it's just a graphical thing for now. All right, so we've made it over. Let's hire the worker, and we're all set. Let's go ahead and withdraw some more slurry. Let's see how much they got. Oh, wow, it's really ramping up now. Once we increase the time, we've definitely got the slurry increase. You can see 3,697 of the slurry, and that is what, probably a third of the way done, maybe a little bit more than that. And for now, let's head back to the map momentarily, and let's look at the status of field 1. And what I'm looking at right now is soil moisture and nutrition, because those are two things that we're probably going to have to deal with very soon, and then probably not too long after that, the infestation as well. 100% plowed, 100% cultivated, and we're sowing on that field right now. But so right now, for moisture and nutrition, as well as the infestation, we're looking good. If we come over to field 5, you can see it's 100% plowed, but it's not cultivated. That's what our worker's working on right now. And then it's also looking good in the other ways. And then finally, field 4 has not been plowed or cultivated. That's the one that we're plowing right now. Okay, with that in mind, let's see. Okay, we've got 3 workers going, one plowing, cultivating, and then a final one seeding. The seeding is almost done. In fact, let's get out of here. There's our message that says that the seeding is done over here on field 1. Okay, now we can, I'm actually going to walk over to field 1 now. So I want to show you the field information screen. And with it on the time scale up pretty high, then this is going to start to show growth here pretty soon. Okay, here we can see all of the information about the field. And you can notice that already 20% of the plowed has gone away. 20% has gone away. The cultivating has started to go away as well. And then, of course, we're losing moisture, nutrition, and becoming more infested as time goes on. So now that's going to mean that we're going to need to purchase some more equipment, but we're going to wait a little bit before doing that because we're looking pretty good so far. Again, oh, looks like we got another worker done. Yep, our second worker is done. Field 4, the worker is done. And as always, whenever the workers are done, the equipment will actually show back up over here and be all disconnected so that your tractors will be separated from the implements, which will spawn in right over here. All right, so we're in good shape. I'm going to actually notice it's floating off the ground. That seems to be something that happens a lot. Oh, there we go. And there's our last tractor that just got done. All right, so we're actually going to get started sowing. There we go. All right, unfortunately for us, the workers, whenever you ask them to sow on a field, they will not do so unless the implement is full. All right, let's go ahead and try to get this out of here without jackknifing, if at all possible. All right, now, let's see, we've got an implement in the way, but I think we can get by it. Yeah, there we go. All right, I'm going to have to remind myself, as soon as we're done with this, I'm going to have to go check on our animals and the amount of food they have remaining. Because I believe it's going to be about time for us to fill them back up. All right, there we go. So we're going to go ahead and plant some canola over here as well. Hire that worker. All right, let's first check on the livestock. Cows, okay, 48%, yeah, we're fine there. 82% cleanliness, we're still perfectly fine there. Okay, so we're not bad off. And 45% there. Okay, let's come over to our finances tab. Now, you notice under the other section, we have some income. 5,752. That is from the milk that our cows produced on this very first day. Now, it should continue to increase as time goes on. Okay, then the other things you can see, equipment maintenance, rented equipment fees, as well as our workers. So you can see all of that as time goes on, but we've got our first income from our cows listed here. Okay, so we've got one worker still out there sowing. That's the one that we just dropped off. Now we need to, if I come back to the map, because if I'm not careful, I'll get these confused. But you can see we're plowed and ready to be cultivated on field 4. So now I'm going to get into our next tractor. It doesn't really matter a whole lot which one. There we go. I'm going to try to make this turn as best we can. There we go. And we're going to head out toward field number 4. I'm going to try not to hit any trees along the way. All right, so as we drive out onto the field, you can see that the second icon to the left at the very top of the screen shows that we need to cultivate, and sure enough, that's what we brought with us. All right, so right now, let's go ahead and withdraw the slurry. Oops. Guess it would help if I would actually withdraw the slurry. There we go. Now let's come in and check on the livestock. Go to cows, and you can see it's still dropping a little bit, but it shouldn't be too terribly bad. It shouldn't drop below the minimum required to continue increasing their health, and it definitely shouldn't get below the minimum before we get to 100% health on them. But again, we'll see how it all goes. We're down to 42% food remaining, and you can see it's at 4:30 in the morning, so time is definitely moving on. All right, let's move over to, all right, the plow we will not need, so let's actually hop out right here. Okay, so we're ready to start another day on the farm. We've got stuff everywhere. We've got tractors over here ready for more feed. In fact, let's see, I've actually forgotten how much feed is in this one. Okay, so it's full. It's got 13,000 feed. What I'm actually going to do here, oh, we got a worker that's done on field 5. Okay, he was sowing on field 5. Okay, let's go ahead and move up forward, get right close to the end on that icon, and that's where the trigger will be. Now, somewhere in here, there we go. So now we're just going to take this opportunity and fill it back up. You can see on the screen we have a little over 8,700 feed left. I'm going to bring him back over, and we're going to park him right in here, and he'll be ready to go the next time. All right, now let's come back to our map, and let's see what's going on. So field 1 is now growing canola. Everything is in the green. We're in good shape there. Field 5, also same situation. It is growing canola. Field 4, where our last worker just got done, is now ready to plant. So let's go ahead and come back over. Again, it doesn't really particularly matter which one of our tractors. They're all the same, and they can all handle all of the equipment to this point in the game. And that's one of the reasons why I did that. I like the idea of not having to worry about which tractor pairs up with which implement. Okay, let's come over and fill up our seeds. There we go. You can see not a whole lot of seeds were used. That was for actually field 5. So just 105. All right, let's try to turn this thing around without jackknifing it. All right, not too bad. Not the greatest job in the world, but not too bad either. So now we're going to take our sower right over to field 4 and try not to hit the trees. Please don't hit the trees. And here we go. We'll take a quick glance, and once again, you can see the seed that we have currently in here is canola. We could change that by clicking right there, but we don't need to, and we'll set our worker to work on that. All right, let's get back to the farm, and I'm just going to continue. All right, so now we are growing. What I'm going to do at this point, we have our 10,000 slurry in here, so we can't use any more. And you can see our crops are growing out here. We have growth on our crops. And you may have picked up on a problem we're about to have. And that is, from going back to when we were renting all of these things, well, you might be wondering, how in the world are you going to get all of these crops harvested if you can't rent or purchase a harvester? Well, that's part of the fun of it. I kind of knew this was coming, but I wanted to do it anyway because we needed to get to a quick start. So one of the things we're going to have to do is we're actually going to have to get rid of a couple of things so that we can make room for the harvester. But that's not a big deal, and we'll deal with that in our next episode. For now, thank you very much for joining me in our playthrough of the free play mode here in Real Farm.